Welcome back. We to preview Saturday's Premier League match between Aston Villa and Everton at Villa Park. Pascal, start with the wayside. Great run of form at the moment. It beat Manchester United 3-0 last time now.
Yeah, it's fantastic performance. It always tends to be a great game. Everton United at Goodison. There's always a really good atmosphere there. But I think Everton they were just brilliant in that game, weren't they? I think United, they were okay in sort of the first 20 minutes. They had a couple of chances, but I think that first goal, that just gave Everton a massive boost. And from then on, United really fell away, and just so many below par performances from their players. But from an Everton point of view, yeah, it was a fairly even start, but they got that goal, tiny bit of fortune in the goal, sort of broke to McCarthy, and then he managed to bump his way through, but a great finish. And then after that, it was just all Everton, really. John Stones getting his first goal for the club. There's a lot of good storylines as well, him getting his first goal for the club. He had a great performance in central defence, dealt with the likes of Rooney, and then when Falcao came on as well. And they just played so well in that game. I thought, obviously, Morales getting the third, that was another sort of a bit of an odd goal the way it sort of went over, and then, all the players stopped because they thought it was offside. Morales goes through. You wonder if it should have been offside, because Lukaku did start to run onto it, and obviously United players thought, right, he's offside, that's going to be the end of that. So I think maybe there was a bit of dubiousness with that, but you can't take anything away from the result. Everton fully deserved it, and yeah, they're looking good again after what's been a very underwhelming season.
Yeah, you mentioned it's been an underwhelming season, but I say recently they've been much better form. I think they've won 5 of their last 6 in the league, and I think the counter-attacking threat was evident in that United game, wasn't it? Lennon up there, Morales came on second half, and Lukaku obviously, and I say it's been a poor season overall, but recently they get back to the team that everyone thinks they are. When you look through their squad, it is very strong, and taking as many points as their last 6 games, 16 as they managed in the previous 19, which says massive amounts of how I think they've been so much better defensively as well, haven't they? Since Distan went out of the team, gave them too much early in the season, gave away too many goals, and Jagielka and Stones back there, the captain obviously up there doing well, so been in great form at the moment. Another good win last time, mate. Like I say, maybe 3-0 was a little bit harsh on United. I don't think it was a 3-0 game, but they did deserve to win, and good form at the moment.
Definitely. I think when you look, this recent run of form sort of makes Everton look like one of the better teams in the league again, but on the whole, you have to look at the season and say, they're on 44 points now. Last season they finished 5th on 72 points. You can't forget just how great a season they had last season, but it's been such a dip this season. The contrast has been pretty incredible. That sort of first 2/3 of the season when they were really poor, just struggling to pick up wins and score goals, and if they win all their games from now on in, they'll still finish 16 points fewer than the total they accrued last season. So whatever happens, even if they win all their games now, it's still going to be a disappointing campaign for them. They didn't, they went out in the knockout stages of Europe, didn't do too well in any of the cups. So it has been a disappointing season, but the thing that they can do is say, right, look how well we played in the last 2 months of the season. Build on that, because they've got a very talented squad. There are a lot of young players as well, so there's certainly things to build on. And I think next season, Martinez definitely is going to keep his job now because of the way they're finishing the season, but they need to rebuild on it, maybe sign a couple of players here and there, and then push again maybe for that sort of top 6 next season.
Definitely much brighter for Everton. Moving on to Villa, massively disappointing last time out. Performance against Manchester City was very good, but I think the way they started the game, they were 1-0 down, weren't they, before they could blink really. That Guzan error was just, you can't an error of that magnitude in that sort of game. It was a bizarre moment that shouldn't happen, and it was always uphill from that point, wasn't it? To be fair, they played very well though. First half played very well. Second half, obviously they got it back to 2-2. A couple of good goals. Cleverly's won. City went 2-0 up. Cleverly scored. Sanchez got it back to 2-2, and 5 minutes left at that point. You're thinking, they were still pushing forward. Benteke got ruled off offside, didn't he? Where he went through and he went down under the change of heart. It would have been a penalty and a red card. Was ruled offside. Probably was just onside. So that's the things that you need to go for you when you're down at the bottom. But then they went down the other end, City, and scored. And you can just see Tim Sherwood's face. It was, a point at that stage would have been massive. But just for confidence as well, isn't it? They've been playing. But there's no getting away with the fact they've been much better under Sherwood, haven't they? And last time out, although they did lose the game 3-2, they gave the champions a real scare in front of their own fans. Maybe they wouldn't have done it earlier in the season. So they can take a lot of positives into their remaining games.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, there was the post-match interview, quite funny, from Sherwood, where he said, how do you? It was a defeat, so they're still down there. They're far from safe. Only just above the bottom 3, and teams below them games in hand. So, it's not looking completely safe yet. But Sherwood, said, if we're going to go down playing like that, you're having a laugh, aren't you? It's quite a funny moment from him. But they're not safe yet. But you look at their fixtures coming up, 3 of the next 4 games at home. So that that should be a positive for them, because recently at home they've had quite a few wins, so they should be okay there. But I think it's going to be interesting sort of last month of the season, because they're in the FA Cup final as well. And, what do you do? Because that's obviously a huge day for the club. In the FA Cup final, they already beat Liverpool to get there. I know they're playing the holders Arsenal, who only scraped past Reading in the semi-finals. So, I think the difference this year, there's been comparisons made to Wigan. 2 years ago, Wigan, they won the FA Cup and then got relegated. And look where they are now. They've just been relegated to League One, second relegation in 3 seasons. So, you don't. That's sort of worst case scenario for Villa. But I think the difference this season, the FA Cup final, it's right at the end of May. It's after the end of the Premier League season. When Wigan played it, they played the FA Cup final and they were relegated a few days after. So hopefully, what Villa will want to do is secure their safety. Maybe with a game to go, 2 games to go, so then they can just fully focus on that FA Cup final. So if they can do that, they give themselves the best chance of winning that FA Cup final. And if they can stay up, win the FA Cup, you have to say Sherwood, what job he's done.
You look at the teams below them, I think that they've got some really tough games, but Villa got West Ham at home, Southampton away, Burnley at home, so you fancy that Burnley game last game of the season could be massive. This is another big game. What's your score prediction for this one?
I think it could be a really good game, both sides, playing, probably their best football of the season, arguably, at the moment. So I think there could be goals in this one. Villa are looking better. You talk about how good Everton were against United. So I think there could be goals in this one. We'll go for a 2-2 draw.
2-2 draw. I'm actually going to agree with a draw as well. I think it'll be a little bit tight. I'm going to go 1-1, but I can't see either side getting beaten this one. So both of us going for score draws in this one. Thanks for joining us.